Last time on Dragon Quest 3. So I basically just walked, I lost one party member, got a key, then got another key but didn't beat a single boss. For that I would need more levels. In other words, it's time for me to enter the hyperbolic time chamber. So if you didn't know, it's possible to go all the way to the Old Waits Abbey without fighting a single boss. I'm going to make 2 vocation changes. Teloon ascends after reading an influencer course. Money making is a skill and he has mastered it. He doesn't just make his money with crypto. And he's not just a crypto influencer. He's the guy teaching people how to write guides on how to become a crypto influencer. The Indian guy on the other hand didn't try exactly to steal the golden claw, but I saw the way he's been looking at it and that's why I branded him as a thief. A short trip in the hyperbolic time chamber later. And Nem is still not allowed to show his face, but I'm at least letting him train as a martial artist again. If you're like me not using a guide, the thief vocation and its associated skills are extremely useful, almost mandatory if you're going for mini medals. One skill allows you to see the amount of treasures left and the other highlights all the treasure nearby, meaning that with the combination of the two you can clear out every area with ease. At this point, Betty 2 also learned a spell that is extremely useful for this playthrough. Peep, or as it's localized here, X-Ray, allows you to check the contents of a chest for mimics, so I don't have to skip treasures like I did in the pyramid. This means I can clear out basically every area now, the only exception being the pyramid since I still have the curse from the claw. After a bit of backtracking for mini medals and a bit more grinding, I'm finally ready to actually start playing through the content. Kander the thief has stolen almost as much money from the people as Teloon, so we obviously have to put a stop to him. We beat him once for harming the people and another time for harming business. Teloon basically has unlimited money now and thus we can buy a boat. At this point I want to mention that I am playing the old translation only because I got the wrong download link. It also just froze my game, which lost me half an hour of progress, so if you do play this game, make sure to get the newest version. Now with the boat we have a lot more areas to explore, a lot more places to see and a lot more people to meet, like this guy with his crazy conspiracies. Or there's our first settler in America who is trying to build a town of his own. Like a lion throwing his cub off a cliff to toughen it, Teloon decides to leave his son Tipper here in the settlement. Our mission is to gather 6 orbs. The first one is free, we just find it in a secret basement, but I didn't remember all the orb locations, so I aimlessly wandered around for quite a while. There's this castle that I knew I could sneak into if I had an invisibility herb. The alternative to that would be the invisibility spell that Betty was just about to learn, so I tried to level her up, but while I was doing that, an enemy was nice enough to simply drop an herb. In here is a relic that the king just forgot about and nobody even cares. The item allows us to lower the sea level significantly, but don't worry, just hand it out to someone who can push some rocks, I don't see any harm in that. Especially Teloon, the lovely little fellow. Either way, this gets us the ultimate key, so we can now open any door we want. For example, this allows us to open the gates to the teleporter hub. Now everybody is able to travel these long distances immediately, just as long as they are willing to pay the Teloon tax. With the key we can get 1 orb from a trial where the hero has to do a dungeon by himself, but with our rule set this might as well not exist. Another orb we can just take from a ghost, but the last 3 orbs are going to take a bit more effort. Japan is at the center of the world and this is where we get the purple orb. There's a dragon that keeps eating children, so we go and kill it. Not once but twice. A watcher here is usually a hard boss, but my party is so overleveled that it's not. Only 2 orbs left. Toneko used to live in this next town we visit, and I bet everyone is happy to see him again. You sick fuck. How dare you show your face around here after what you did? We did get put into jail, but Toneko knows his way around here, so it only takes a second to escape. I don't know what exactly Talon did in the past, but now we have a decision on our hands. Option A is to forget anything happened and leave this kingdom alone. Option B is to attempt to talk it out. Option C shouldn't be that hard since there's already some talk about him being in league with the Archfiend. And finally, option D, wait until night, sneak into the king's bedroom and end his evil reign. The king can use desperate attacks and defense doesn't matter for critical damage calculations. This is part of the reason I grinded so high. I didn't know the exact damage he did, so he could have still killed Betty, but a higher HP on everyone reduced the risk. He only got one desperate attack off before I killed him and he tried to desperately take down Talon with him. Huge mistake. Toneko is basically unkillable as proven in the previous episode. And while that doesn't help us directly get an orb, we can pawn off his treasure for a bone that allows us to find a ghost ship that contains the concept of lovely memories. Talon then sold the concept of lovely memories to the concept of souls and somehow that got us a sword. And now we can toss that sword into a volcano, the one that our dad fell into a few years back. And that leads us finally to a dungeon, and after we go through all that, the orb is just given to us by some dude that has a really inaccessible home. Meanwhile in America, or as the game calls it, Immigrant Town, the merchant we left there was put into prison for something he did. I don't know what exactly he did, but I can say only one thing. He's really grown up to be just like his old man. Either way, he left us the final orb. I won't ask how we got it, but he sure did us a solid. With this we can resurrect Ramia, the guard bird, and fly to Baromos's castle. I only have 2 life stones at this point, which are one-time insta-kill preventions. I do remember regular enemies here using insta-kills, but with this I am basically immune. Again, remember the Luminary can die in my rule set. The only one who risks dying is Betty, and no, even with my ridiculous levels, Holy Water doesn't prevent all random battles. I still sneak to fight as little as possible because while it would be funny if Betty 2 died to a reskin of the mage that killed her sister, I'd rather not lose her. If you ever played Dragon Quest XI, you know this dungeon in and out since you have to play through it like 3 times in Tickington. The fight against Baromos is extremely easy since I am very overleveled and have the multi-heal ability, which you aren't expected to have at this point. And with that, we've beaten the... So it turns out that the conspiracies about the Nazis living on the moon were correct. Turns out to really complete this game we need to go back to the world of Dragon Quest 1 and Dragon Quest 2, but because even the strongest enemies here don't pose a problem, and because I played Dragon Quest 1 before, meaning I know where to go, and because there are no bosses in this area until the very end, there's basically nothing worth mentioning. The only real risk of dying was a mimic in the dungeon that seals away your magic, but even there the risk of anyone dying wasn't that great since I had life stones. I basically went everywhere and cleared out the whole dark world. The main reason for that was to gather mini medals so that I finally got 80, which gives me a claw that's even better than the golden one. And with that out of the way, there's nothing else left to stop me from getting all the way to the final boss. As you can tell, my party is extremely overleveled. Just from exploring everything I got so much more EXP, and while initially I was completely prepared to turn this into a video series, this is apparently where it ends. At this point I was almost hoping for somebody to die. I was mentally prepared to finish this one as a solo. So what did we learn today? It's totally okay if you lose a party member in a normal playthrough. Take more risks. Don't grind just in case, because you could run into trouble later, since games are forgiving. Do to get past problems. It's much more rewarding to overcome a challenge instead of never facing one to begin with. Even if here the means of overcoming the challenge are just a time investment. What I'm getting at is, while this one was fun, I obviously wouldn't recommend it to anyone. Enjoy your ability to die in games to its fullest. Life is too short to check for mimics.